voice just died for a second. I was trying to say
That was crazy.
You should do an intro this time. Like, do an intro.
Good evening. Are we ready? Oh.
Yeah. You got your chocolate. I got my chocolate. We're good.
I got chocolate?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
It's cold.
I got my pocket full right here.
You got a pocket full of chocolate?
I got a pocket full of
What's
chocolate.
sunshine? And chocolate. Oh, he turned around for that.
Yes, he did. The way he looks at the camera every time.
He's a professional.
He's mad.
Wouldn't you be?
Why?
All the things you've done to him today.
No.
And yesterday.
Because I'm forgiving.
Oh. Yeah, I understand kitty cats. Do you remember where we left off, baby? Yes. What does that page say? Who are we talking about?
Joseph and
Yeah, but it.
Josie.
Josie and no. Yes.
Wait, really?
Miriam. Yes.
Okay, I was. Okay.
Who's Josie and who's Miriam?
Was it Josie the mom?
Yes.
Was Miriam the daughter?
Yes. She is. Who's Miriam's brother?
No. Yes. No. What? I don't remember another name being said.
Baby Moses?
Oh!
Like the whole story? Don't remember another name being said. No more chocolate. From now on, you earn your chocolate. What's James 5:16 say?
The prayer of a righteous person
Yes.
is powerful and effective.
Yes.
Haha.
Yes. Okay, so you get to have the chocolate that you already had. But I take something away until you can earn back the fact that you didn't think we talked about anybody else.
I am listening.
I'm listening.
I forget so easily. I don't know why.
I'm listening.
It was like the Grinch when you said that. When he's talking smack to Max.
Smack to Max.
Yeah. Very much looked at me.
Mm-mm.
You say it like you wouldn't.
I would never.
She definitely would.
Lord forgive her. She knows not what she says.
But I literally do know.
Ruth and Naomi. The book of Ruth. Naomi the mother. In Women of the Bible Speak, we considered Ruth's life in connection with the life of Tamar, another woman who knew it was to be an outcast and a stranger. Sorry, these glasses are not very good. They're actually the real glasses, but I have a hard time staying with these. I need some cheap ones. Let's see. Maybe that'll make me happier.
I don't know how you see through these things.
Oops. I was trying to make sure I didn't make it in your water.
So you threw the whole floor?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure
Hold on, wait.
Miriam.
Ow, my foot hurts.
Jeez Louise, I'm ready for this to be over. Okay. We considered Ruth's life in connection with the life of Tamar, another woman who knew what it was to be an outcast and a stranger, someone people despised and perhaps pitied. We saw beauty come from the mess that Tamar made when God redeemed her mistakes and wove her story into the lineage of Jesus Christ. In this book, we're going to view Ruth through the lens of being a daughter and the relationship she built with the woman who became her second mother, Naomi. Their journey together began in shared grief, but resulted in deep joy and deliverance. It started in earnest when Ruth took a true leap of faith, a bold step that led her away from her family of birth, but into the promises of God and a new family. Again and again in Scripture, we see examples of found families.
Oh, wait. Easier for me to focus if I can, like, read along. Nobody's seeing my feet.
Okay, no feet.
No feet.
Again and again in Scripture, we see examples of found families. Adoption is a theme God beautifully illustrates for us repeatedly in the Bible, leading up to the adoption of Christians as sons and daughters of God. But when the set time had finally come, God sent his Son, born of a woman, born under the law, to redeem those under the law that we might receive adoption to sonship. Galatians 4:4-5. The language is woven throughout the New Testament. In Romans 8:15, Paul encouraged new believers by reminding them that the Spirit you received brought about your adoption to sonship. And of course, Jesus' own story is one of adoption. He was known as the son of Joseph, but Joseph was his adoptive father, a man who took on a divine assignment that upended his life and called him to a challenging journey. What are you doing?
Where's my eye? Wait, can you just sum up what you just read?
It's just talking about how adoption appears constantly throughout the Bible, even including like the adoption of Christians as sons and daughters of God, and how Naomi became a second mother to Ruth.
I needed those names. I feel like it's going to be a question.
Mm-hmm. I think that pretty much sums it up.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The language is woven throughout the New Testament. In Romans 8:15, Paul encouraged new believers by reminding them that the Spirit you received brought about your adoption to sonship. So I'm not going to come in the Holy Spirit. And of course, Jesus' own story is one of adoption. He was known as the son of Joseph, but Joseph was his adoptive father, a man who took on a divine assignment that upended his life and called him to a challenging journey. So we're talking about Mary and Joseph and how Mary was a virgin, and then Mary was with Joseph, but he became Jesus' adopted father, earthly father. Scripture indicates that Joseph was a good father to Jesus, keeping him, along with his younger half-brothers and half-sisters, safe in Nazareth, watching over his family, and likely teaching Jesus everything he knew about the carpentry and building trades. All of the themes of adoption that run throughout the New Testament have roots in the found family stories of the Old Testament. One of the most beautiful examples we get of a chosen family bond in the Old Testament is the relationship between Ruth and her mother-in-law, Naomi. The book of Ruth starts with the story of Naomi, one of heartbreaking loss. In the days when the judges ruled, there was a famine in the land. So a man from Bethlehem in Judah, together with his wife and 2 sons, went to live for a while in the country of Moab. The man's name was Eli, and his wife's name was Naomi. I can say that one. And the names of his 2 sons were Mahlon and Chilion.
This is like measurements. It does.
Oh. That's funny. Hey, now. I actually don't want any more chocolate, but thank you.
Oh, you don't?
I don't.
More for me.
I'm kind of full. But thank you, baby.
Okay. Do I actually have to earn my chocolate?
Yes. So I probably should have it to give it to you when you've earned it.
I don't earn my chocolate.
I'll let you know when you're good.
I'm good.
And you answer a question because you're listening. You can show me critical.
I'm gonna shoot them at
You
you.
can show me critical thinking.
I hate critical thinking.
So then, Principal Jessica can. Why is there 20,000 pieces of chocolate? Heavens to Betsy. Oh no, now. Gosh. Look at my glasses. I can't even. Oh no. Oh no.
James 5:16. A righteous person is powerful and effective.
Good job, baby.
Thank you.
You still enjoying the chocolate that you got for that already?
What if I say it again?
Nice try.
What if I give you a hug?
Oh, I love warm hugs.
I like warm chocolate.
But they don't. Well, it's frozen chocolate.
Actually, I meant frozen. Clearly, my brain is not right for critical thinking right now.
Oh, so you're really gonna have to work hard here.
Yee. Yee. Yee.
Yee. Okay, in the days when the judges ruled, there was a famine in the land. So a man from Bethlehem in Judah, together with his wife and 2 sons, went to live for a while in the country of Moab. The man's name was Eli. His wife's name was Naomi, and the names of his 2 sons were Mahlon and Chilion. The measurements. The measure brothers. They were. How are you gonna say it?
Ephraimites.
Ephrathites.
Ephraimites.
If it writes, I know rates. The measurements and the Ephraimites and the Ephraimites from Bethlehem, Judah. And they went to Moab and lived there.
You yelled.
Ruth, sorry.
They went to Moab and lived there. Okay. They went to Moab and lived there.
I was really, really excited about them moving to Moab and living there. Like countless families before and after them, Naomi and Eli had fled their home country, Judah, during a time of famine. Wow. Searching for a better life for themselves and their sons, they appeared to find it in the nearby land of Moab after what was about a 50-mile journey. So this family was away from the customs and traditions of their own people, living in a new land as outsiders when tragedy struck. Now Eli, Naomi's husband, died, and she was left with her 2 sons. They married Moabite women, one named Orpah, that I always want to say Oprah, and the other Ruth. After they had lived there about 10 years, both Mahlon and Chilion also died, and Naomi was left without her 2 sons and her husband. Ruth 1:3-5. It's really sad. Naomi, in a foreign land with 2 sons, lost her husband. The grief of becoming a widow in those times was exacerbated by the devastation of losing the family's financial provider. Though nearly all of Naomi's stability was shattered when her husband died, she had 2 sons. Both of them had married Moabite women, creating a new family unit and the possibility of precious grandchildren on the way. Naomi's grief over the loss of her husband had its consolation, because she had her sons until she didn't. Both Mahlon and Chilion died. No more measurements. It's not funny.
No.
Why are you laughing about the measurements dying?
You said no more measurements. That'll make math easier.
You don't. The math is not mathing. That's a lot of subtraction. Overnight, Naomi's situation became dire. 3 men had been in the place of making sure she would be safe and secure, but not one was left. Naomi was bereft. With no husband or sons, she faced poverty and death in Moab. But then a glimmer of hope. Naomi received word that the situation at home had improved, providing the possibility of returning to her own land. When Naomi heard in Moab that the Lord had come to aid of his people by providing food for them, she and her daughters-in-law prepared to return home from there. With her 2 daughters-in-law, she left the place where she had been living and set out on the road that would take them back to the land of Judah. Then Naomi said to her 2 daughters-in-law, "Go back, each of you, to your mother's home. May the Lord show you kindness as you have shown kindness to your dead husbands and to me. May the Lord grant that each of you will find rest in the home of another husband." Ruth 1:6-9. Alright, well, like you get a piece of chocolate if you can memorize this right here.
For what?
Okay, if you can sum up what we just read, what I just read.
Okay, so now Naomi's husbands and stuff, they kept dying. And then her sons died too. And I can't remember where she went. She went somewhere that was away from home. But then she found out that things were better back home. And then she was promised a new husband. That, like, right? Like, why? No, why are you looking at me like that? I'm trying to, like...
You just mix some things together.
I can't.
Between the people.
I need my own book to look at too. Like,
You're sitting here beside me.
What do they get mixed up?
Okay.
Or
So Eli was married to Naomi. They had 2 sons, the 2 measurements.
Uh-huh.
They all together went to Moab and lived there. That's the new land that they
I
went
didn't know
to.
they went there too.
Yes, they all went there together. So they were in this new land all together, away from the customs and traditions of their own people. And that's when tragedy struck. So Eli, Naomi's husband, died. And so then she was just left with her two sons. Her two sons married Moabite women, one named Orpah and the other named Ruth. So her husband, Naomi's husband, has died, but she still has her two sons, and now she has two daughter-in-laws to go with those two sons. After they had lived there about 10 years, both sons they also died. So now Naomi was there, away from her home, but that was kind of like their new home, but still, she was left there without her two sons and without her husband. So then, no husband, no sons. They were facing poverty and death in Moab. But then a glimmer of hope. So Naomi received word then that the situation at home had improved. So that was providing the possibility that she could return to her homeland. When she had heard that the Lord had come to Moab and to the aid of his people, providing food for them, she and her two daughters-in-law prepared to return home from there. They set out on the road. And so once they kind of like got out on the road, Naomi tells both of her daughter-in-laws to go back, each of them, to their own mother's home. And she was blessing them as she like sent them away, so that they could kind of just go back and find another husband. So we see something in Naomi's faith here, because she heard that the Lord had come to the aid of his people by providing food for them. In Ruth 1:6, notice that Naomi attributed Judah's recovery Judah's recovery from famine to God's action. At the heart of her story, although Naomi was grieving, she could see God's hand in her own life and in the lives of other people. So she stepped out in faith. She packed up to take her weary, grief-stricken heart back home to her people. As much as Naomi, Orpah, and Ruth needed one another, Naomi selflessly stopped to think of her daughters-in-law and the life they could still have, complete with family, children, and the security of a new marriage. This trio of women had suffered so much together, and that must have bonded them deeply. It's understandable then that the two young women didn't want to abandon Naomi to fend for herself. The best hope that Ruth and Orpah had for a prosperous life, for any life at all, really, was to stay in Moab, where they could find new husbands among their own people. What possible chance did these two Moabite women have of finding husbands in a country where they would be strangers and immigrants? For Orpah and Ruth to pledge to stay with Naomi was an act of extraordinary love. The actions of her daughters-in-law hint at what kind of person Naomi must have been. Generous of spirit and loving, leading the three of them through devastating sorrow and loss. For both her daughters-in-law to desire to remain with her in their widowhood instead of returning to their own families suggests that Naomi must have been a remarkable individual. Orpah and Ruth were willing to risk their own futures and leave behind their own country and their own families just to stay with her. Too often our society feeds us the poisonous narrative of the critical, unpleasant mother-in-law, the jealous or overbearing mother-in-law, the nosy mother-in-law, the hostile mother-in-law. But that does not reflect the experience of many women. For many of us, the mother we adopt in marriage becomes a cherished part of our lives. And in many cases, she becomes as important to us as our own mothers. I certainly won the mother-in-law lottery myself. Juetta Bream and I have the most important things in common: faith in Christ and an unwavering love for her son, Sheldon. Oh, But we couldn't be more
Shannon
different.
and Sheldon, wait.
Yes.
That's so cute. Shannon and Sheldon.
Bream. Oh. My nose itching. Okay. But we couldn't be more different as individuals. She can whip up a feast for 30 people in an afternoon without glancing at a single cookbook. And I can boil water. She raised 6 kids and made it look easy. I struggled to keep up our lab biscuit on track. I remember early in our marriage when I was a young attorney feeling overwhelmed and working around the clock. As we chatted on the phone, she'd occasionally ask what I was making for dinner. I felt attacked because everyone knows Sheldon didn't marry me for my cooking. But I soon realized she was just trying to make conversation with her new daughter-in-law, not point out my lack of domestic talents. We bonded over what we did share in common: a love for Jesus, Hallmark movies, books, sweets, her cooking, and that amazing son of hers. And kitty cat.
This is the amazing son of hers. Oh, he's so cute.
Wrapped up on my legs.
Look at him. Ooh.
Oh my goodness.
I never leave him alone.
What joy it must have been for Naomi, mother of 2 boys, when they welcomed 2 daughters into the family. The Hebrew word for daughter-in-law is kala, and it's a complicated word. It's sometimes translated as bride, and it is used in that sense in the romantic imagery of the Song of Songs. But the root of the word kala is kalal, which means perfected or made complete. A daughter-in-law is not just a bride for her son, but she adds to the entire family unit. Naomi's daughters-in-law were her family, and for her to leave them behind in Moab would be to leave a part of her heart there as well. In the touching and beautiful scene of Naomi's departure, we can see the family bond these 3 women had forged in their shared grief and mutual affection. Because she loved her daughters-in-law, Naomi was unwilling to let them sacrifice themselves in this way. She urged them to go back, Ruth 1:8, and she underlined the command by telling them to return to their homes, the homes of their birth mothers, not of the mother they had adopted. Start your lives over, she was telling them. Go home and get remarried. Coming with me makes no sense. But Orpah and Ruth refused to listen. Then she kissed them goodbye, and they wept aloud and said to her, "We will go back with you to your people." But Naomi said, "Return home, my daughters. Why would you come with me? Am I going to have any more sons? Who would become your husbands? Return home, my daughters. I'm too old to have another husband. Even if I thought there was still hope for me, even if I had a husband tonight and then gave birth to sons, would you wait until they grew up? Would you remain unmarried for them? No, my daughters. It is more bitter for me than for you, because the Lord's hand has turned against me." Ruth 1:9-13. Naomi was clear. There was nothing for Orpah and Ruth down the road she was about to travel. There is some wordplay involved in verse 13 because Naomi's name means sweet or pleasant. It is the opposite of bitter, marah, and she was being frank with them that only bitterness awaited her in her homeland. We see Naomi's generosity here too. Naomi had a long, hard, and dangerous journey ahead of her, and it would have made sense to take the young woman along for companionship and safety. Certainly, Naomi would have been less lonely, less afraid if they accompanied her. The perils for a woman traveling alone during that time are hard for us to imagine. For most of us, unpleasant travel means a bored toddler or a long TSA checkpoint line, but Naomi would have been risking something altogether different. The trip would have been a challenge, even with a man along to protect her, but a solo woman would have been exposed in totally different ways. Yet Naomi did not request or even accept Orpah and Ruth's help. Instead, she made the selfless choice of pushing them away, and Naomi's orders were obeyed. Almost. At this, they wept aloud again. Then Orpah kissed her mother-in-law goodbye, but Ruth clung to her. "Look," said Naomi.
24/7.
"Look," said Naomi, "your sister-in-law is going back to her people and her gods. go back with her. But Ruth replied, don't urge me to leave you or to turn back from you. Where you go, I will go. And where you stay, I will stay. I can hear you saying this. Your people will be my people, and your God my God. Where you die, I will die, and there I will be buried. May the Lord deal with me, but it ever so severely, if even death separates you and me. When Naomi realized that Ruth was determined to go with her, she stopped urging her. Ruth 1:14 through 18.
I'm like, no, go do this. I'm like, I was like, you trying to get me to go do something. I was like, my friends would rather just hang out with you.
Silly. Okay, do you feel like you know what's going on right now?
Just telling Ruth and...
Orpah?
Yes, that's a hard name to remember.
Yeah.
To like go back to their family and like live their life instead of like struggling with Naomi. Like she's like, it's pointless. There's no point in like staying here with me. Just go back where you're safe and healthy and stuff. Like, you know.
Where they were born.
But they followed her anyways, and she gave up on trying to tell them no.
Mm-hmm. But after urging, Orpah said, okay, bye. And Ruth said, girl, no. I'm going with you.
It's like me, I'm like, get me to listen.
Like a little rat.
I'm like,
and he's just ignoring you until you pull the blanket, and he's like,
my bad, chat. We're buddy.
Yes.
He did.
Yes. Even though Naomi urged her to turn back, Ruth refused. Many people look at this passage as an example of beautiful earthly love, and they are right. But what about looking at the passage in another way, as a model for evangelism? Naomi was the first person in this story to talk about the Lord, and that became a consistent theme in Naomi and Ruth's relationship. She reminded Ruth that going back home would mean going back to her people and her gods. From Ruth 1:15. But Ruth was persistent. She wanted to go with Naomi, and she wanted to worship Naomi's God. In the ancient Near East, religion was very closely linked to nationality and to people's culture. Ruth was consciously leaving all of that behind and clearly choosing to align with the God of Naomi and her people. So often when we think about evangelism, we assume we need to prepare a 3-point presentation quoting Bible verses and complex points of theology to convince someone to accept Christ. But evangelism isn't always about a polished presentation or a theological defense. Sometimes it's just about being with another person, spending time with him or her, building a relationship, living out our faith in front of that person, and talking about God in the natural conversations that arise.
Me and Addie! Yeah, Addie, I know you watching. You better be.
You can test her, and if she gets it right, then...
No, I'll buy her like a whole bag of candy.
You ain't got no money.
I'll get some. I'll find some. I'll go sing in the road.
Go sing in the road.
Yeah, when it's raining.
Sing in the road.
Okay, I actually do sing good, but that I wasn't trying. So we're going for 30 minutes.
Okay. A lot of that was like, yep, pat it back. Sorry, I was having a hard time getting it together and getting started tonight.
That's just every night.
Shh. Give me that chocolate back.
What?
Yo. I don't want it back. It's easy to see. No. Leave that baby right there. See? There you go, Bubby. He's about to be very upset with you. He was going to run from you.
But I just wanted to know.
It's easy to see how that could have been what happened as Naomi and Ruth walked through some valleys together, both literally and figuratively. The Bible doesn't tell us exactly why Ruth chose to leave her gods for the God of Israel, but apparently there was something about Naomi that caused Ruth to want to follow her God. Perhaps it was the way Naomi trusted God even in difficult times. Or maybe Ruth watched Naomi worshiping the Lord and realized that there was something very unique about her God. Whatever the reason, we know that Ruth's relationship with Naomi was strong, and it drew her to want to follow the Lord. What if we adopted this as our model of evangelism, living out our walk with the Lord in such a way that our lives are constantly communicating His hope and truth? It was her devotion to Naomi that led Ruth to make one of the greatest declarations of love in the Bible. Your people will be my people, and your God my God. Ruth 1:16. And this was more than just adoption. It was Ruth choosing to leave her own people and land, so then became a child of Israel, bringing her Moabite heritage into the family of God. It was a heritage of her great-grandson David would later remember for when he went on the run from Saul's armies. My goodness. He sent his family to shelter in Moab. 1 Samuel 22, 3-4. Ruth's conversion is a beautiful example of how God intended Israel to influence the world. As he said in his promise to Abraham, all peoples on earth will be blessed through you. Genesis 12:3. And an early example of the sort of evangelism Christ would command his church to carry out. From this point on, Naomi and Ruth were no longer just mother-in-law or daughter-in-law. They became mother and daughter. Baby. Ruth had declared that Naomi's people were hers, which meant that Naomi was now her mother in every sense of the word. When the two women made their way back to Bethlehem, Ruth asked permission from Naomi to glean in the field of Boaz, Naomi's wealthy relative. Gleaning was hard work, the process of going behind those who had reaped the crops in order to pick up anything beneficial they'd left behind. Now Naomi had a relative on her husband's side, a man of standing from the clan of Eli, whose name was Boaz. And Ruth, the Moabite, said to Naomi, "Let me go to the fields and pick up the leftover grain." I stabbed my eye with my glasses.
I was like, what did I do?
You didn't. It was me. His name was Boaz. And Ruth, the Moabite, said to Naomi, "Let me go to the fields and pick up the leftover grain behind anyone in whose eyes I find favor." Naomi said to her, "Go ahead, my daughter." Ruth 2, 1-2. We can see both Ruth's deference to the authority of Naomi and also Naomi's blessing of her decision with the phrase, "my daughter." These two were my daughter.
My daughter.
My daughter.
My daughter. My daughter.
You're the daughter.
You're the daughter. I'm the mom.
I'm
the
daughter. Mom and you're the daughter.
She's the daughter.
You're the mom. I'm the mom.
She admits it. I'm the mom.
That's twisted.
Even though
that's as twisted as my glasses.
She's older than me, but I'm the mom.
She likes to think she's the mom. Because she's bossy.
I do it out of love.
Okay.
If I don't boss you around, that means that I don't know you like that. So take it as a compliment.
What say you, kittykins?
He's the bossiest of them all, man.
He's the neediest. I don't know. Yeah, it's a toss-up for you, too.
He'll literally, like, whenever we're about to take a shower, he'll sit in the bathtub, like, waiting for us to finally get in the shower. He does that for both of us. Then he gets out, sits on the toilet.
Or the side of the tub.
Or the side of the tub. And waits for us to get out. And then, after a while, he starts, bah! Really loud. Yeah. But he's so sweet.
He just needs a lot of love and attention.
He's so soft right here.
No.
Behind his ear. It's my baby brother. Well, my non-human sibling. I have other human siblings at my dad's. I will not say their names because it's not safe for them. Anyway.
Anyways, it's her dad's other children.
Yeah, I don't want to get in trouble. I feel like you would get frustrated if I said their names. Well, I mean, it's not like I'm putting them on there.
It's okay. We'll just stay in the book, okay? Don't worry about it. We're talking about Naomi and Ruth.
Not Brooklyn and her sisters.
Yes.
Or sisters.
Siblings.
Sister and brother. Good grief.
We're moving on. When the two women made their way back to Bethlehem, Ruth asked for permission from Naomi. Oh, we already said that. No, I already said that.
Are we gonna stop right here?
We were here. My daughter, they used to were doing life together as a family unit, as incredibly challenging as it was. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, because that's a lot. That's
too much.
I don't have it in me to read. No, this. Oh my goodness. Yeah, okay. No, that's a whole.
It sounds like this. When it sounds like that. You know, it's a lot. Also, we've been recording for like 42 minutes, so.
Yeah.
Probably in the.
It's 15 pages. Yeah. This is like a third of the way through this chapter. Or this storyline.
Okay, well, we'll post again tomorrow night. Probably around this time. Let's see, what time is it?
I don't know, because tomorrow night's church.
Oh, yeah. We'll probably get out of church like around 9. It's like almost 11 right now.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. But we're going to go ahead and post this one, so.
We love you all. I hope you have a wonderful evening. Don't forget to say your prayers. And
get in your Bible. Bible means Bible. I call my Bible a Bible.
No disrespect.
No.
Okay.
Well, that was fun. There's cat fur on the floor.
Yeah, because you put it there.
Well, no, because I put it right here, and it fell off.
Okay. I don't think they care.
Okay, bye.
Night.
Good night.